"Please don't carry me to bed," the trapped Apache girl said to the rancher. Instead, best Wild West stories. The wind cut across the open plains like a cold whisper from the mountains. It was the hour before sunset, the moment when shadows stretched long and quiet truths crept out of hiding. That was when Elijah Ward, the shy young rancher known more for books than bullets, heard the scream. It wasn't loud, it wasn't long, but it was sharp, sharp enough to slice the evening in half. He dropped the feed sack and ran. For the last 2 years Elijah had lived alone. Folks in nearby Willow Bend called him the Virgin Rancher, not out of mockery but because he was different. Gentle, soft-spoken, the kind of man who'd patch a fence for a neighbor without being asked. The kind of man who'd rather help than fight. The kind of man the frontier often swallowed whole. But fate sometimes takes gentle hands and pushes them into storms. And today, fate shoved hard. The girl in the bear trap. Elijah sprinted across the pasture toward the old cottonwood tree where coyotes sometimes circled. The closer he got, the clearer he saw her. A girl. An Apache girl. Tall, taller than most women he had ever seen, with long black hair braided with strips of elk hide. Her leggings were torn, her moccasins dusty, and her left leg. His stomach knotted. Her leg was caught in one of the rusted bear traps left behind by outlaw hunters months ago. The metal jaws clamped around her ankle like vicious teeth. She turned when she heard him, fear blazing in her eyes. "Stop," she shouted. "Don't come closer." Elijah froze, hands raised. "I'm not here to hurt you. I swear." She didn't believe him. Not yet. But the pain was carving lines across her brow, and her breaths were turning sharp like broken glass. "What's your name?" Elijah asked softly. For a long moment she hesitated. "Nige," she whispered. "Daughter of Chief Dasota Hay." Elijah had heard of that name, the leader of a proud Apache band known for fierce loyalty and unmatched tracking skills. Elijah slowly knelt. "Nige, I need to open that trap. If we don't, you'll lose your leg." Pain trembled through her, but so did defiance. "You touch me wrong, rancher, and all. I won't." His voice stayed steady. "Let me help." Her eyes searched his face, hunting for danger. Instead she found gentleness, unexpected and disarming. Finally she nodded. "Do it." The moment that changed everything. The metal trap had rusted shut over months of storms. It fought Elijah with every ounce of its stubborn iron, digging deeper into Niche's skin each time he tried to pry it. He worked until his palms bled. Niche's breath hitched in pain, but she bit down on her sleeve, refusing to scream. "Almost," Elijah gasped. "Hold still." With a final heave, he forced the trap open. Niche's leg slipped free, bruised and bleeding. She collapsed backward, trembling. "You're safe now," Elijah said. "No," Niche whispered. "I'm not. My tribe is 2 days south. I'm lost. And the men who set that trap might still be near." Elijah's gaze shifted across the darkening plains. He saw no movement, but danger on the frontier rarely announced itself. "Can you stand?" he asked. Niche tried, and collapsed with a cry. Elijah instinctively reached to lift her. And she panicked. Her hands pressed against his chest, terror shone in her eyes. "Please don't carry me to bed," she pleaded. "Please." The words broke from her like a wounded animal's cry, fear, not shame. She didn't know him. She didn't know what he intended. The world had taught her that kindness was often a mask for something darker. Elijah stepped back instantly. "Niche, I wasn't taking you to my bed. I was taking you inside, near the fire. To clean your wound. That's all." She studied him. His face didn't hold hunger or malice. Only concern. Then, her voice softened. "Put me by the fire. Where I can see the door." He nodded. And so, instead of lifting her to a bed as she feared, Elijah gently carried her to a chair beside the hearth, keeping her dignity, her boundaries, and her trust intact. It was the moment she began to see him not as a threat, but as a man worth believing in. Enemies on the wind. For 2 days Elijah tended her wound, grinding herbs, boiling water, and tearing strips from his own shirts to use as bandages. Niche was strong, not just tall in stature but powerful in spirit. And yet, at night, when the coyotes howled, he sometimes saw her shiver, not from pain but from memories he couldn't name. On the third afternoon, thunder rolled across the plains, not from the sky, but from hooves. Elijah stepped outside. 5 riders, rough men, the kind who hunted people the way others hunted deer. They dismounted. "You seen an Apache girl come through?" the leader asked, grinning cruelly. Elijah's heart hammered. He kept his face blank. "No," the man smirked. "Funny. We found blood by that trap yonder." Elijah didn't flinch. "Lots of animals bleed in these parts." The men exchanged looks. They didn't believe him, but they didn't know Nige was only 10 feet away, watching through the narrow crack of the door, her fingers tightening around Elijah's rifle. The leader leaned in close. "If you're lying, boy, we'll gut you first. Then burn your ranch to the ground." He spat, swung onto his horse, and the gang thundered off. Elijah exhaled shakily. Behind him, Nige whispered, "You put your life in danger, for me." He didn't look back. "I couldn't let them take you." "Why?" He swallowed. "Because you deserve to be safe." "Everyone does." Her eyes softened, just a little. The journey home. At dawn the next day, Nige insisted she could make the journey south. "You can't ride alone," Elijah said. "I won't be alone," she replied. "You will take me." Elijah blinked. "Me? Why?" "Because," she said simply, "you're the one man I've met who doesn't treat me like property." The words struck something deep in him. They set out on horseback, Elijah guiding, Nige leaning lightly behind him, her hands gripping his coat not out of possession but out of trust. Their journey was long. Dust storms, river crossings, night fires under wide, endless stars. Along the way, Nige told him pieces of her story. How she got separated from her hunting group. How those outlaw hunters stalked her for days. How the trap caught her as she tried to escape. Each word weighed heavy. Elijah listened without judgment, without interruption. Nige had never met a man who listened like that. By the time they reached the canyon entrance to her people's land, something unspoken had formed between them, not romance, not obligation, but respect. Deep, lasting. The tribe appears. They were halfway through the canyon when warriors emerged from every ledge, every shadow. Bows drawn, spears raised. Nige sat tall in the saddle. "Lower your weapons," she commanded. Dozens of warriors dropped to one knee as her father, Chief Dasodahe himself, stepped forward. When he saw her leg, his face twisted with rage and sorrow. "You were taken?" he asked. "No," Nige said firmly. "I was saved." She looked back at Elijah. Her father followed her gaze. "You," the chief said slowly, "brought my daughter home." Elijah nodded nervously. "Yes, sir." Chief Dasodahe's eyes were sharp as flint. "And you did not harm her?" "Not once. Never." The silence stretched. Then the chief's voice boomed. "Then you are a friend of the Apache people. You will always be welcome here." A murmur rippled through the tribe. Nige stepped down, wincing from the pain, and approached Elijah. Her hand hovered, then rested gently on his shoulder. "You honored my fear," she said quietly. "And because of that, I am no longer afraid of you." Elijah's throat tightened. "I'm glad you're home, Nige." "And you," she replied, "are not as alone as you think." The inspiring ending. Elijah rode back to his ranch with a heart far heavier, and far fuller, than when he left. He had set out alone. He returned knowing he had changed a life, and that his own had changed in return. In the months that followed, Apache riders would visit his ranch often, bringing gifts, news, and friends. And every so often, Nige herself appeared on the horizon, tall and proud, walking with a limp but a smile that reached her eyes. She always greeted him the same way. Rancher who kept his word. And Elijah always answered, warrior who trusted me. Their bond remained unbreakable, not born of romance or possession, but of something far rarer on the frontier. Respect, courage, kindness, and the understanding that saving someone means honoring their dignity, not claiming their life. In a world full of violence and fear, Elijah and Nige proved one timeless truth. The strongest people are those who choose compassion, even when the world teaches them otherwise.